Hey y'all, welcome back to You Had Me at Black. It's Martina. Quick heads up, on April 28th, I'm hosting a People's Assembly to share the plan for the next 10 years of You Had Me at Black. So listen till the end for details. Okay, let's get into this birthday countdown. You ready, sis?
Yes. Hey y'all, it's Brittany. This week we're checking out The Floor is on Fire. It comes from Deborah, who shared the story live at a kickback in Houston in 2017.
It's about a homestay from hell, and learning the hard way, you get what you pay for.
Afterwards, Deborah shares a reflection on what this story means to her all these years later.
Here's what happened.
I want you to breathe all this in, breathe all this in.
You're listening to You Had Me at Black. Black. Right in the heart of the city. Black.
Man,
black.
listen, man.
Black.
This is You Had Me at Black, and we live, baby.
Y'all, we are in for such a treat. Please give that H-time going down. Harvey survivor welcome to Deborah Deep Mouton.
So I decided that I was going to spend a year doing nothing but my artistry, right? I was going to give up my job. I was going to dive in there. I was going to be the starving artist and make room for myself. And by doing so, I realized a couple of things. One, that there are a lot more bills than I remember. And two, there's a lot less money also. And so there came many times in which my bank account said no when the bill said yes, and I had to kind of get a little creative. And so what I would do is I would start to stack shows, right? Because I knew that my talent could make room for me, so I could go and I could do an event, I could sell some merchandise, I could be charismatic, right? And somehow people would leave with like a poem on a piece of paper and pay me for it. So it was great. So an instance like this occurred. I found myself where rent was due and I didn't have any money. And I had one show that I had booked in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So it was a slam. A few friends of mine who were equally as broke decided we were going to drive up and try to just massacre the whole thing, right? So a friend of mine, Jeremiah, this tall, like 6 foot, I say he looks like Jesus if he went on a really strict diet, right? Real woolly haired, but slim, right? Huge smile, kind of rides with me. And then we have our friend Shells, who is butch, right? Nice fade, always lined up clean, but we don't mess with her, right? Like we keep her there because she keeps us safe, right? And so Shells is in Dallas. We're going to pick her up on the way here. So Jeremiah and I jump in the car, and we're going to get ready to head up to Hot Springs. But there's one thing that I forget, right? Which is every time I get in the car with Jeremiah, something catastrophic happens, right? I don't ever know what it is. Sometimes it's facing the wrong way in traffic, on ice, in the middle of Dallas. I don't know. There are things that happen. And so I forget this point, right? Until we're driving down the road. We're close to this car. We're trying to make up time because, of course, Jeremiah was late, right? And suddenly the car in front of us starts to emit some liquid onto our windshield. I have no idea what it was. I don't know that it was oil. We start to refer to it as herpes of the windshield, right? Because no matter how much we wipe, rinse, pour Gatorade, water, it just keeps on coming back, right? Like, it's just no medicine for this. So we end up pulling off the road, trying to squeegee down the windshield, right? Getting further and further into our lateness. By the time we finally get it clean, we're about an hour behind. So Jeremiah encourages me to make up time by speeding, which is always a good idea. For some reason, I decided to listen to him. And about halfway through downtown Dallas, I see red and blue lights. Of course I do, right? I look down, realize that I'm going 96 in a 60, and that's probably not a good idea. So he has another great idea, which is that I should flirt with the officer. Only the door swings open and it's a black woman, in which he decides he should flirt with the officer. That lasts all of one sentence before she shuts him down entirely and hands us a ticket for $425. So at this point, the money that wasn't there is now really not there, and we're just hoping to get back on zero, right? So we pick shows up, we head up to Arkansas. We're about an hour late for the show. We do the show. They actually win the slam. They say they're going to chip in on the speeding ticket, which I still have yet to see from my wonderful friend Jeremiah. However, I think I might have a warrant. Y'all, I just don't go to Dallas. We had talked to the host and we asked her, to save money if we could stay with somebody in the local community, which is normal for poets to do, sleep on a couch. And so she had hooked us up. We're going to call this guy Matt, right? Because I'm going to save his name. To me, he looks somewhere between Charles Manson and Charlie Chaplin mixed together, right? Like got the little Hitler mustache, but with a little like hat or whatever. So he's kind of sitting in the back and the lady shows us that this is who we're going to stay with. And like all the lights went off like, no, this is not a good idea. But I was like, I'm so tired at this point. I just need a few hours of sleep so we can get back on the road. So we pack up, we drive like deep into the forest of Arkansas, following him to his weird home that lives in the darkness, right? We unload our bags and we start heading into the building. And as the door opens, I see cobwebs, right? And not like the ones that you're like, oh, you haven't gotten a chance to vacuum, but like the ones where you're like, yeah, spiders live here, right? Like this might be their house. You might be renting from them. So we walk in, and Shells and I kind of lead the way, Jeremiah bringing our bags behind us, and instantaneously we see what is no floor, right? And by that I mean there is so much trash, old like food containers, Mountain Dew bottles. I mean, I literally saw a pot that somebody had cooked spaghetti in, and by somebody, I don't know who, that was still just sitting on the couch, like just tipped over, like it was kicking it, like it was chilling there. And so in the middle of it is this pristine bed, right? Made up, nice sheets, nice blanket, just hovering over the waist. And I was like, I think this is where we're sleeping, ? And so my panic button goes off, right? And I'm like, if my bag's staying here, I'm gonna go home with a friend. Okay, I gotta now hustle a little bit hard. I gotta figure this out. So I'm like, you know what? We're leaving really early in the morning. I don't even need the shower. I don't need none of that. We're just gonna take all this back to the car, right? So I have Jeremiah load up everything, and I have a seat on the bed because I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah, I sat on it, I know. Okay, I sat on the bed. Shell sits next to me. Upon sitting on the bed, the mattress falls through the frame, right? And we're like, are you joking me? And so she's like, she tries to pick up the blankets. She's like, they smell a little funny. And I was like, okay. So we sniff and it smells like piss, right? Like just pissy sheets. So now it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, we pissy sheets and waste all over the floor. And I'm like, golly, I'm so tired. I don't think I could drive though. And so we're like, let's play a trick on Jeremiah. Let's remake the bed, right? Because when he comes in, he's gonna land on it and fall through. So he comes in and swan dives into the bed, right? Wraps the blanket all around his face, around his body. I mean, he's just the most comfortable ever. He don't even notice. And so I'm sitting there and I'm planning in my head, right, like we do, trying to figure out a way out. And all of a sudden, the couch starts to move. And I look over and I'm like, that couch is moving, y'all, right? Stuff is moving, and I don't see nothing moving it, but it's moving. And I was like, if Shell sees this, she's going to go off, right? So I have to be the mature adult, and I have to keep it quiet, and we're just going to hold it quiet. All of a sudden, I look over at Jeremiah, and his eyes are wide. And I realize he has seen the moving as well, right? And it becomes now our silent conversation to keep the secret that there is something moving until a roach almost the size of our hand emerges from the couch, right? So now I'm cringing until Matt, the wonderful owner, our lovely host, walks over to the couch with his bare hand, picks up the roach, takes it to the trash can, and drops it in. So now Shells has clearly seen the roach, right? We're all looking around. I'm just like, I just need to sleep. Can we just turn the lights off and go to sleep, right? And that is exactly what they said, right? They was like, no, don't do that, the roaches, okay? But before they could get the no out, Matt turns to us and says, we don't turn off the lights. And Shells leans in and asks the question that all of us are wondering, who is we? Because this man lived by himself, y'all. Okay? It is then in which I realized that he is in a contract with these roaches, right? He doesn't kill them and they don't kill him. This is how he is operating. He then goes to his bedroom and Shell starts to laugh. All of us laugh hysterically until the hysterical laughter turns into the most serious face I have ever seen Shells have. And she was like, I gotta get out of here. I just gotta get out. And it was panic, right? She's like, I gotta go. She stands up, runs into his bedroom, and we don't hear anything but the thunder of her bass talking to him. She walks out and says, "It's time to go," grabs the keys and walks to the car. And we're sitting there like, man, we were trying to be polite. How do we get out? She's either going to leave us or we're going to be left here. We're going to go ahead and go. So we wave goodbye. Matt then says to us, "Can you please just not tell the lady who recommended you to come here what you saw?" Turns out she had come 2 weeks previously and cleaned his entire home, and it, in 2 weeks, turned into this, right? So we got in the car, and I think we laughed our entire way back to Dallas, right? We stayed awake. There was no going to sleep. We cracked all of the jokes. But I realized that, you know, in an effort to kind of save money and in an effort to be artists and kind of live at that very base level, I was ignoring the self-care portion, right? Which I feel like we constantly do, right? When we're always hustling and we're trying to make ends meet, we have a tendency to not think about what the real cost of things is. And so if nothing else I learned from that was that at the end of the day, 1, don't stay with creepy people, right? 2, don't get in the car with Jeremiah because look, it happened again, right? And 3, to really prioritize self-care in a way where I realize that sometimes you just need a hotel. You know?
You know what this reminds me of?
Know what?
The Airbnb we stayed at in Chicago.
Oh my God.
It was so bad.
Girl.
Okay, so to give y'all some context, when we were doing our city tour and bringing our kickbacks on the road, I would find affordable Airbnbs for the team to stay in. And so when I went looking in Chicago, the one that fit the budget was on the south side, which, looking back, should have been my red flag.
Yeah, it's funny because I knew nothing about Airbnb. This was my first Airbnb stay. And so it was all like, you being like, no, we're going to stay in an Airbnb. It's going to be great. And I'm like, I have no clue what Airbnb is. And it was not great. I remember our Uber driver was nervous to take us to that area. Like we got in and we told him the address and he was like, "Oh."
Oh my gosh.
He's like, "Y'all stayed over there?" We're like, yes. and then we were like trying to find food along the way home. We were like, "Can you just tell us like what's a good place we could go to, you know, like a nice local spot, you know?" And he was like, "I can't help y'all. I don't go over there."
Which, you know, is crazy because people, I feel like, okay, south side of Chicago is a neighborhood that has a reputation, right? It has all these stereotypes tied to it. But I feel like I've lived in places that have very strong stereotypes. I've lived in different parts of Oakland. I've lived in different parts of Harlem. I've lived in different parts of Brooklyn. And
right.
To me, there's the like the way white people or the outside world sees a place. And then there's like the neighborhoods that Black people live in. So
right.
I was just like, okay, it's outside of Chicago. I don't know much about Chicago, but I know this is where Black people live. So we'll be cool. Like, our team, we know how to carry ourselves. You know, we're just going to be in and out of this Airbnb. All things would be good. So when this man was like telling us don't leave the house, I was like, wait a minute. Did I mess up? and then we get inside. Okay, so I booked it thinking it was like, it said 2 bedrooms and a couch, like 2 beds and a couch. So I was like, that's perfect for all of us. Mm-hmm. We get in there, and first off, the man who owns it is this elderly Black man, but he's not like a grumpy grandpa, and he's not like your friendly grandpa. He's like the old man that lives in the house that when you walk by, your mother says, "Do not wave at that man."
Yeah, he was a sassy grandpa.
He was sassy, but also a little like creepy. Like he was like a little, not creepy and like
But he was just kind of weird.
Yeah, he had a little. He was quirky. That's what it was. I don't want to say creepy. He was quirky. He was a quirky older gentleman.
Sassy old man.
That made me take. I was like, I'm gonna stay on your good side and stay out your way. And when we get there, I thought it was an apartment. It was a boarding house. So the couch that it said, 2 beds and a couch. The couch was a couch for the whole house. Like, it was right there in the living room, but there were other people staying there. Yes, it was this communal kitchen, and I felt so bad because Miles was the only guy. Miles is our sound engineer. he was the only guy with us. And so he was like, I guess I'll take the couch. But I felt so bad.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. And then the towels.
And then, oh my God. I just remember the amount of times I'm looking at you like, you booked this? You did this to us? I trusted you. Martina is the one in our family who tells us about like the new things, right? Like she's the one that told the family when Uber came out, like I remember that text of like, hey, there's this new app called Uber and like this is what you do. Like Martina is always up to date. So like when she's like, there's this new thing, Airbnb, I'm a trust her. She knows. You know what I mean? She knows technology and all this new stuff that comes up. And then the towels. The towels were so dirty.
It was bad, y'all. It was so bad. But we still put on a great show in Chicago. Shout out to all of our Chicago storytellers.
I will say
Shout
this,
out to
though,
RMC.
the location, as much as the driver's like, oh, the location, we did go out to eat, like, was it a food truck or something? People were fine. You know what I mean? Like, it was fine leaving the house. Like, we weren't like, oh, you know what I mean?
Like I said, there's the perception of the outside world, and then there are neighborhoods that Black people live in.
Exactly. And then there was this house that was awful.
Yes, but no, that Chicago trip and show was still incredible, as was our Houston show where we recorded this story from Deborah. But I what I love about Deborah's story is that it just brought me back to this time of creating You Had Me at Black, of by any means necessary type of energy that you bring when you love something, when you feel passionate about something, when you want to see it in the world, and the sacrifices that you'll take and the way you'll sacrifice yourself for the broader cause.
Yeah.
You know, and I think there's a lot of nobility in that. But as I've gotten older, I've learned that we got to take care of ourselves first. And it starts with where we stay, where we lay your head at night.
Yeah, where you sleep. It starts with where you sleep.
It matters.
For
It
sure.
matters. So,
Yeah. Okay. You want to hear from Deborah?
Yes, let's do it.
You know, I look back at who I was as kind of this fledgling artist that would kind of go to any length to make things happen. You know, even if it was sleeping in some crazy place or driving all night long, I put in a lot of grit and also settled for a lot of foolishness. But it makes me have this greater gratitude for what I've accomplished and all the people who stood beside me as I was going through it, really valuing what it means to have good friends and a good place to lay your head. I've learned that sometimes it's worth just paying for the hotel. You know, seriously, I think I came to understand what my basic needs were, what my negotiables and my non-negotiables, what I really needed to wake up and perform and show up as an artist every day. And so thinking back on the times where I settled for less, I really put in perspective what it means to advocate for myself and to get out of tricky situations, even when it seems impossible. If I could talk to the younger version of myself, I would want her to know that there's going to come a time where all the all-nighters and the sacrifice actually pays off. That all these weird stories and challenges and unique people that we meet along the way are parts of the chapters that make your book really interesting and your life more worth living. I run into so many people who share their stories with me and who have built into my story. And I think it's shaped how I move in the world with compassion and how I go about engaging with different situations. And so I think I would want her to embrace the wholeness of her journey, embrace all of it, even the sticky parts, because it's going to make her a better person later on.
This story was recorded during our city tour in Houston, Texas, like we said. Now, by 2019, when we wrapped the tour, the entire team was completely burnt out and barely hanging on by a thread. And I set off to find a viable way to support and sustain this work. Because without spaces like You Had Me at Black, we don't just lose a podcast. We lose range. We lose complexity. We lose the everyday, full, complicated, funny, hard, and beautiful stories that we don't get anywhere else. Because you already know the alternative. It's the same narrow, limited representations. Cloud bobs instead of afros. So on April 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern, I am hosting a People's Assembly. It's a town hall style event where I'll share the plan for the next 10 years of You Had Me at Black and how together we can make something that is built by this community, owned by this community, and continues to give y'all the stories and experiences that you need and want. So if you have been listening, if this has meant something to you, come through. RSVP at youhadmeatblack.com. I'll see you there. Peace.
This special Rewind episode was written and produced by Martina Abrahams Ilunga and me, Brittany Abrahams. We created You Had Me at Black, and Martina is also our executive producer. The Floor is on Fire was produced by Jody Williams Powell, and Miles Dodson made it sound good. The MC you heard is Danielle Fanfare. Special thanks to Deborah for sharing her story and reflection.